Hey, Gen Mex, we have some exciting news to share. Hopefully exciting.
Or scary.
But it's something that we've been wanting to talk about for a while now, since April, and I've maybe hinted at this a little bit, but we didn't want to reveal anything until it was a done deal. And today, it is a done deal. So, Kat, what is our big news?
So the news that we would like to share is that we have purchased another home, a second house in Mexico, this time in Todos Santos.
Yes, and it's a fixer-upper. So that's hopefully that's the scary part, is not only are we investing more of our money in Mexico, and we'll talk a little bit about why we're doing that, but this house needs a lot of work. We're going to give you a tour of the house because we shot video way back when in anticipation of this moment of being able to share this news. So we're going to share that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about why we were looking for a second property in Mexico. So, Kat.
And when Brighton shares the video, don't judge us. We know it's like a big money pit.
It is, yeah, it is not a pretty sight right now. But maybe Kat's explanation of why we did this will help you understand why we did what we did.
Yeah. So with all of the economic uncertainty that's happening in the US right now, I was really motivated to diversify, right, our investments and whatever assets that we had. And so we pulled money out of the stock market, not everything, but we pulled a chunk of money out of the stock market. And what we decided was...
Including retirement accounts. So we are taking money out of our retirement, our 401ks and IRAs and whatnot, which was a little bit scary for me. But
I didn't do that. You did that. I didn't take mine out of my 401k. Anyway, I had separate accounts that I was able to take it out of.
Attorney, YouTuber.
So, we had options. We actually did a little bit of research and we watched some webinars and, read a lot. I spent hours and hours what's the safest way to diversify your income when there's economic uncertainty?
And actually, I want to do a quick shout out to the International Living webinar. That was the best one that we watched. And I'll have a link to it down below if it's still available. But it was about diversifying, essentially saying how wealthy people in the United States are taking their money out of the United States and putting it somewhere else.
And we're not wealthy.
We're not wealthy, but we want to follow what the wealthy are doing. So they said there were 3 things that you should do. One was buy gold, and we haven't done that yet. One was buy real estate in more emerging markets. And actually, Cabo was one of the recommendations. So we bought an hour outside of Cabo. And the third one was by
Swiss francs.
So have other currency. So those are the 3 things. We moved on one. Maybe we'll move on the gold one too.
Wait, didn't you buy $10 worth of gold?
I did buy $10 worth of gold just to try to figure out how the process works of buying gold in, I think it was Singapore. And it got bounced back to me. And I've got all the kinks worked out now. So we are ready to invest big time in gold. But for now, we're starting out with real estate in Mexico because, as Kat said, there's a lot of economic uncertainty in the United States. And so we didn't want to have all of our eggs in the stock market basket, which is pretty much what we had up until this point.
Yeah. And, I don't want us to come across as crazy preppers, although sometimes the preppers are right, but it's just diversification, right? We didn't take everything out. Most of it is still in US based, assets, but we took a chunk out, and that really is in the worst case scenario.
And now's a good time to mention that this video is in paid partnership by BetterHelp. Their online therapists are available nearly anywhere in the world by phone, messaging, and video chat. If you're a follower of my videos, you probably know that I have worked with a BetterHelp coach during my time in Mexico. She's worked with traditional therapy type issues like coping with my depression, but she's also helped more as a coach, helping with goal setting and planning. If you want to give it a try, you'll get 10% off your first month by using my code betterhelp.com/almostretired. So if you need help with planning or goal setting, join the over 4 million people who've worked with BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. But now let's get back to our goals with this house. And let's talk about that prepper part of it. Because Kat really is a prepper at heart. So she really wanted to have property where she could grow food. And that's not working out that well in La Paz. La Paz is very dry. And
sandy.
And so she's able to grow tomatoes and peppers and things like that. But really, if it got down to it, if we were trying to feed ourselves, what's growing in La Paz would not go very far. Maybe we could make some salsa. But where we are, where we just purchased it sounds funny. I've been saying where we want to purchase, where we're going to purchase, all that for the last 4 months or so. Where we just purchased is in Todos Santos, and it's in kind of, I think, an old agricultural area. It has a lot more...
Well, surrounded by a lot of farm fields, and it's... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but it's just a lot of the Pueblo Magicos are located in towns that had missions, and the missions are located in towns that had aquifers. So, and so there's an aquifer underneath the ground in Todos Santos, and the area that we're in is a little more green. There's a lot of desert surrounding Todos Santos and a lot of desert in Todos Santos, but we're in the La Cachorra, Las Brisas area in between there. La Cachorra is very green. Las Brisas is pretty deserty. So we're right in between, right on the edge of where it's green, which is a long way of saying this gives Kat the opportunity to grow.
To be a true prepper.
To be a true prepper and grow food if we should need it, if
worse comes to worse. So just a little description. It's 0.6 acres, so a little over half an acre.
So a little bigger than our La Paz property.
A little bit bigger than our La Paz property. It's actually got a view of the ocean. It's not on the ocean like our La Paz property is, but if you go up to the roof, you can see it. You can see the sunset. But here's like the really good part is, obviously Todos Santos, if you haven't heard of it before, it's an amazing town. It's so cute. I love it. And it's got a lot of travelers and visitors that come there. And our place, I can't believe it's our place, that it's like literally a 5-minute drive out of Centro, the downtown. So it is really close to downtown. And it's got, a house with going to be 3 bedrooms. It's got more bathrooms than, I don't know, it's crazy. Our house in Portland's only got 1 bathroom. So every time I think of more than 1 bathroom, it seems like such a luxury. But it's got, we're going to remodel the house. We're going to put in a plunge pool, a soaking pool with, what's it called? Palapa. Thank you. Palapa. And then we're going to have, hopefully, a really nice producing garden. Vegetable garden, fruit garden.
I thought what you were going to say is a really nice producing investment property.
That too. That's what we forgot to say, that this is all about, moving in assets out of one investment producing instrument into another, and that's real estate. And so our hope is this will turn into a very successful Airbnb venture. We've never had Airbnb property before, so I'm terrified, but I feel in my gut that this is the right move and getting super excited about it.
Yeah, so if you are one of those Airbnb hosts, I would love to hear your comments down below as to recommendations, anything.
Tips and advice.
If you are an Airbnb host in Mexico and you're properly paying all your taxes to Mexico and the United States, which is something we plan on doing, I would love to talk with you in depth and maybe do a video with you, because I want to kind of get the, as we kind of planned out how to pay Mexican taxes through Airbnb, and that was, that's a little bit complicated. And then when we were doing our taxes this year, our accountant was like, oh yeah, but you're going to have that property down in Mexico. And we're like, oh yeah, that's going to be, taxed in the United States, and there's going to be deductions in the United States, and it's
depreciation.
Yeah,
all that.
There's going to be a lot of complications. So I'd love to hear from someone who has some experience with that. But yeah, let's talk about the house itself. So let's talk about the house as it is. So we're going to roll the video so you can start out the video seeing some of the yard. So it's really big. There were some trees that I think there was a fire or something that we lost a bunch of palm trees. So there's a bunch of stumps, but
before we bought it,
yeah. But it's got a really big yard where Kat plans on growing a really big garden, especially if worse comes to worse.
And can we back up for a second?
Yeah.
So our very nice realtor, when we kind of described what we were looking for, is, something kind of close to Centro that would be good Airbnb potential, and then had like a decent amount of land that might be good for, growing vegetables and fruit and whatnot. And so he showed us a couple of lots and a couple of houses, and nothing was speaking to us. It wasn't really checking all the boxes. And then he just happened to mention, gosh, I wish I could show you this other property. It was, oh, hi. Okay, hi, Butters. Butters going to join. I wish I could show you this other property. It was on the market, but it's off the market now. And I think, y'all might like it. We'll drive by it. So we drove by it and I got up on my tippy toes and I peeked over the fence and I was like, oh gosh, Brighton, come look at this. I think this might be what we're looking for. And so, was it that day or the next day? I think we came back the next day because our realtor actually reached out to the former realtor when it had been on the market before, and they let us in and we looked at it, and Brighton and I were like, oh boy, this is going to be a lot of work because he's going to talk about the site,
the existing and the future
status.
vision.
But boy, like if you have vision and you can think it through, I was super excited about it. Okay, what's it like now?
Yeah, so it's got the yard, and then when you go into what would be the part of the house, we'll call it the front, that faces the water, there's kind of this big veranda on the first floor, and then you enter into 4 rooms that are exactly the same size. And actually, I've got an existing plan. We've been working with an architect. This is what the existing plan shows of kitchen, bedroom, with bathrooms behind each of the bedrooms. But here, let's go back to the video. You can see the kitchen is pretty tiny and just a really weird setup. And then each of the bedrooms is not big enough for even a queen size bed, much less a king size bed.
So I think it was either a prison or a surf camp before.
Yeah. And if you close the doors, they each had like a 6-inch window in the door that you could open, but they were metal doors. Otherwise, there were no windows in the bedrooms. So it was just pitch black in those bedrooms. Very depressing. One of them had this little add-on area in front, but once again, it wasn't big enough for a bed. So that was the first floor. And then there's 2 staircases on the outside that lead up to the second floor. The second floor is a lot better. When you head up to the second floor and go in, there's 2 bedrooms, one on either side with a bathroom in the middle. And these are nice, really big bedrooms now, almost too big. And in the middle of the, kind of where the bathroom is, you can walk out onto the terrace area. And the terrace has some views of the ocean and
just little kisses.
The terrace has some views of the ocean and a little covered area. But it's weird because you kind of go through a closet to get out here. So, and then there's the bathroom and then the second bedroom, which is a really big area, kind of being used as an office for the caretaker is what it was used as. And then in this room, there's a really steep staircase to go to the roof. So head up the staircase and you go out onto the roof and better views of the ocean. It's hard to see in a video, but nice views of the ocean, but this really strange, like 4-foot tall wall going around the terrace. So there's like the outside area and then there's this inside area with this tall wall. So as Kat said, it took some vision. And also we said, okay, well, the first thing we need to do is get our architect, Carlos.
We had to hire an architect.
Yeah. So I think actually first Carlos came over. I was like, Carlos from La Paz, Baja Custom Homes. You've seen videos with Carlos before.
Awesome.
He's awesome. So I was like, Carlos, can you come and look at this house and tell us if there's something we can do with it? And he came out there and he was like, wow, this is an amazing property. We could turn this into a multi-million-dollar property for under $1 million. And came up with some grand ideas. And we're like, well, we
can't afford the $1 million.
Yeah. So just give us, can we do this for about $150,000?
The remodel.
The remodel. And he said yes. And we talked about can we tear down load-bearing walls? Can we make these tiny little rooms into big rooms? And he gave us some price ideas on that and, kind of what it was going to take to make it into kind of what we were envisioning, which is, 2 big rooms on the bottom, 2 big rooms on top. Essentially, he said, yeah, we could do that. Also, finishing out that tour, though, you'll look here that this is the view towards the road. So as Kat mentioned, very close to downtown Todos Santos and really some of the Las Brisas businesses. What's the one?
La Esquina.
La Esquina is just 5 minutes away.
Such a good restaurant and a good bar and a good place to hear music.
Yep. There's a
Huge
plunge pool place and a pizza place and a number of things that are walking distance. So that's great. But it has this weird horse. So if you have any suggestions for what we can do with this metal horse, we'd appreciate that. Comments down below.
We'll put it on the roof or something.
Yep. So that was kind of what was there. But let's give you an idea of what we're looking at doing. So for the last 4 months or so, we've been working with the architect. We hired Carlos and his team to design the new what our vision was. And we've gone through, I think, like 4 different versions of plans where they kind of came through and they're like, okay, this is what we were thinking, that this is what we think we heard from you. And then we would be like, oh no, make that more curved or move that. We came up with some really grand plans.
It's got a decent, good foundation, but we really had to do a gut and stuff.
Yeah.
In order to make it usable.
Yeah, pretty much everything's coming out and everything is new going in. But so really we're looking at keeping the second floor very similar to the way it is. We had planned on a staircase on the outside going up to the roof so that the roof was, not accessed from one of the upstairs bedrooms. So it's going to turn into a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath is what it's going to be. So 2 bedrooms upstairs sharing a bathroom and then downstairs a half bath off the kitchen and a full bath for the primary bedroom down on the first floor. So the architects have been designing this as we go, and they actually prepared a little 3D model so you can kind of see what the living room is going to look like. It's got this cool, like, you walk in, there was no door on the street side of the house. And so you kind of had to go around the house to the side that faces the ocean and come in that way. So now we're coming kind of a real front entrance that enters into the living room, and the kitchen is going to be to your right with this big bar area that's kind of curving around and kind of pulls you through the space is the idea, and pulls you right out into that veranda area. And then beyond that is going to be the pool and the palapa.
And the coconut palms.
So it kind of like pulls you right through to the yard, and it's going to be very open, which is definitely a challenge because we are removing a lot of load-bearing walls. But the structural engineer is supposed to be there tomorrow, actually. He's coming out to poke holes in the walls. This has been something that we've been waiting on. The architects have been paused for a few weeks now because we were at the point where we pretty much had all the plans drawn up and had agreed on everything, but now the structural engineer needed to go out and poke holes in the walls to determine where the structure is and how things are put together structurally, so they could really start to dig into how are they going to build this. So that's the next phase here, is going into the construction documents, and we're going to be deciding on the finishes and the colors and pretty much everything. The appliances.
Where the plants are going to go.
Yeah, so we're going to have a lot of activity. Please stop patting.
I'm sorry.
So we're going to have a lot of activity going on remotely. We'll be continuing to work with the architecture team. And shout out to this team of architects. They are doing a great job. Really, it's a joy to work with them. And we do everything via Zoom. And when we were in the office one time before we started. They were able to have a really big TV on the wall, and they had asked us to send our ideas and images and whatnot. So they were kind of projecting the ideas we had, and we were kind of talking about, like, what do we like about this? What do we like about that? So they really got a good idea of what it is we're looking to have with this house.
Okay, so now he's totally crawled up into my lap. What a baby.
So from here, we've got about a half an hour until we meet Kat's sister and brother-in-law for margaritas to celebrate. We're going over to Por Qué No. We are currently up in Portland, Oregon. This is our summer home. And so we're going to be heading over to Por Qué No for some margaritas. But the future for the house, poking the holes in the wall tomorrow. And then the architects will start working on those color choices and whatnot. And really, hopefully, we'll be going out to bid. So Carlos may be the one he'll provide us with the prices for his construction of the home, and we're going to also get another bid so we can see and choose between the two of them which contractor we want to work with. So our hope is to break ground in like November or something like that. Hopefully 6 months later, it'll be complete. We'll be spending a lot of time We plan to go to Guadalajara furniture shopping. So you're going to see some videos. You're going to see videos of this whole thing. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this process with us. Or feel sad.
Or this madness.
Yes, exactly. You will hopefully feel our pain when there's painful moments. Yeah, we'll be sharing this journey with the idea that come May or so, that it will be possibly ready for rentals. And we'll probably have some friends stay there, give us some tips. That's what we've heard is the best thing, is to have some friends stay there and be like, oh, you didn't have enough towels in the bathroom, or all those kind of things, with the intention then of the following winter, which is the high season. So that'd be starting like November of 2026 is when we would start to really have this be an income producing investment property.
Can we have what would be called Airbnb open house or like a party? Just be like, hey, our house is ready. We'll just have a big party over there.
We can have a party over there.
Yeah, so you're invited.
Yes. I guess come on out. If you're in the La Paz, Todos Santos area and the house is ready, come on out. So let's see here. Lastly, the location, we didn't really talk about that. Todos Santos is located about halfway between San Jose del Cabo and La Paz. So it's about an hour from the San Jose del Cabo airport. So it's an ideal location. I think that's why we're looking at this as an investment property, because it has much more potential being closer to the major airport than our La Paz house. We are considering renting out our La Paz house too. So let us know in the comments down below if you think we should do that, or if you think we should not do that. We will have a rental page too. We are going to be working with a rental management company. I think I'll link to Amy. Hopefully this is going to work out with Amy. We haven't signed a contract yet, but her contact information will be down below too. We'll be working with her and building out a website that's kind of like our unit, so people could book through Amy, or they could book through Airbnb or maybe VRBO. So yeah, that is our big news. We also have a foster dog, but this is not him. This is Butters. Butters is a big baby.
And they're tied up with us right now because we have baby birds in our...
Yeah, I just sneak the baby birds in, didn't you?
This has been my whole day today, is making sure that the baby birds on our ginkgo tree stay up in their nest. We found them on the ground today. We had to put them back up, and the moms come in and feed them. So all is good.
Well, we had to build a new nest for them, because the nest is way up the tree. So we made a new nest.
But they're in there and they're being fed, but we just can't let the dogs over there in case one of them comes out again. We don't want them to be a little snack. So anyway.
So hopefully we'll have lots of birds down at the place. We don't know what the name of our new casa is going to be, but we're thinking it's going to have kind of a tiki theme, just because we love Hawaii and all things tiki and
exotica.
And, yeah. So if you have any name ideas, put those down below. Maybe I'll have a contest or something at some point to name the house, because the architects have been telling us, you need a name, but we will get a name. So remember, if you need help with planning, check out BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/almost-retired for 10% off your first month. Otherwise, I hope to see you down in Todos Santos or La Paz. You'll be seeing lots more from Todos Santos in the coming months. So you thought I was going to forget to tell you how much it cost. And actually, when I first recorded this, we did forget to tell you how much it cost. But after I was editing it, I was like, oh, something's missing the cost. So what we paid for this 0.6 acre lot in Todos Santos, so a little bit more expensive place than La Paz, $330,000. And that includes the building, a number of outbuildings, and the lot with a walled-in property. So a little bit more expensive. Also, the closing costs are more expensive in Mexico than in the United States. $16,500 for closing costs. If you have any other questions, I'll be sure to answer them down in the comments below, so be sure to put those down there. Otherwise, I've got some other videos. Here's one about our house in La Paz, and then also a video that YouTube has chosen just for you. From Portland, wish you were here. Hasta luego.